Okay, I think we're live. I'm gonna wait a second to see if I'm getting playback on screen. I apologize if the mic sounds just a little weird. You guys let me know, I can fine tune it. For some reason, I can't pass through audio on my camera, so I'm literally left with just running the mic
we're live.
through the I'm gonna wait a second
tile box here
to
directly
see if
into
I'm
my
getting
PC.
and it's a little playback on screen.
And my desktop audio is
I
on.
apologize if the mic sounds just a little.
Okay.
All right, sorry about that. I fixed that. I think I fixed it. Check in the chat. I'm gonna pull up my chat on my phone and watch that as I'm doing this. This is a little weird. Excuse me. It's a little weird, and I usually don't. I'll try to manage all this as a one-man show, but let's do one more thing. Okay. All right, I think we're good. I'm pretty sure we're good. Let's see. One more thing. I want to make that bigger. Okay. So I can see my hand on screen. The camera stops right about there on that side and about there on that side. Okay. All right. You guys think the audio sounds okay? Yeah, that's not going to be superb. Kind of did this last minute. So I want to talk about why we're doing this in today's live stream. I was actually going to do this in dedicated video, but I said, screw it. We'll just do it live and just wing it and see how it goes. This will probably be a catastrophe, but at least you get to watch it live. It'll be somewhat entertaining for you. So this right here, I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to see that in focus pretty high up because I turned, I dropped that, well, I really shrunk the aperture, so it should look pretty good still. But this is a GTX 1070 FE board. Nothing special about this other than the fact that it used to be on a reference card, on this card here, or what was in this box. And I ended up having to swap the boards. I stuck with the same cooler on this card, but I swapped the boards because the FE board died. And it died actually in the middle of painting the Founders Edition shroud, which kind of sucked. So I am going to try my best to swap this board back to its original blower style cooler, which is this guy right here. Actually, now that I look at it, I don't even know if I have the correct backplate for this. Oh no, I do. It's just on this card. Okay, yeah. So this is that like off-brand. It's actually, it came out of an old Dell, but it's you see some. I think MSI calls this like the MSI Aero series, but this blower style card here, or blower. This actually, it's a cooler. It is kind of recycled from manufacturer to manufacturer, but this is not going to be very great for temps. It's not going to be very quiet either. That's why I recommend staying away from blower style unless, certain circumstances, maybe you're running like an ITX PC. These are better for keeping hot air out of your small case, so you would want to use something like this in that event, but it would still run quite loud. So this PCB, again, came from the Founders Edition card, right? But the backplate, whatever you want to call this plate here, came off of this card. So I took this card, I took its backplate off and swapped the Founder Edition backplate with the other PCB because the backplate on this card wouldn't fit the Founders Edition cooler. So yeah, I know it's kind of confusing, but I'll probably better explain it as we get closer to it. I'm gonna move my power rate out of the way real quick. I'm gonna open this up and show you guys what I'm talking about. So, how are we doing in the comments? We doing all right in the chat? All right. Yeah, they OEM for Dell sometimes. Yeah, so Chris knows what he's talking about. Corsair Chris. What's going on, Chris? And yeah, so that's where this came from. It was a Dell. It was actually out of an Aurora R7, which I reviewed, excuse me, in a dedicated video. Now you can see here on the very bottom is this partial PCB exposure right here above the little PCIe slot. And that green PCB was on this cooler, right? So when this board died, which was in the Founders Edition card, this reference card here, when this board died, I went ahead and took the green PCB out of this card and put it in this FE cooler, right? And that's why it's green. I did my best. I actually took Sharpie and I colored all the way down the sides here, any part of the PCB that was exposed that I could color safely, because it was green pretty much all the way around. It just looks terrible because there was, black painted, graphics card cooler, and then there's just like a green line there. So we're gonna take this card apart. We're gonna take this PCB out, this whole board, a 1070 board, and we're gonna put it back in the Aero blower cooler. The reason I'm doing that is because this was in Lisa's old build. The board still works, but the cooler, it's just kind of, it only really works in a yellow themed build. This is like a baby yellow, and I painted the rest of the shroud black. And Lisa really liked it for her build, but now she's sporting something else. So I don't really want to try to use nail polish remover or something to pull this paint off. The other thing is I'm missing the GeForce GTX logo in here, so it looks kind of stupid without that. So I think what I'm going to do is just, I don't know, if someone wants this and they want to pay shipping, I might just ship it to you if you really want to do something weird with it, if you think you get the paint off and start from scratch. If someone else is selling an FE cooler like this, a GTX 1070 FE cooler, I'd like to buy that off of you. So if you want to leave a comment in the video once it's archives, or you can email me, marketing@science.studio, then I would like to buy that off of you if you live in the continuous, how do you say that? The contiguous 48 states. Okay, so let's get to disassembly. Now I apologize, this is not the most professional disassembly live stream. I already know that going into it, but I'm going to try my best. Let's see here. Try to zoom in. Is that right? No, yeah, that is right. How far are we in there? It's not too bad. And are we still in focus? Let me know if we're still in focus after that zoom in, folks, because I can't really see it on the far side of my computer desk. It's kind of away from me. This is the build desk here. So I've got this little toolkit. It's got a bunch of Phillips heads, flat heads. Really convenient. This is a Cobalt kit. It's just, you can get these for like 10, 20 bucks. Walmart, other places, and Micro Center sells stuff pretty similar to this. If you want an iFixit toolkit, if you want to go all out, you can do it with iFixit. But I'm going to start by removing the. I really don't have to start by removing it. I'm gonna save that for last, because those are the 4 screws holding in really what is the GPU, which is right here in the center. So I'm actually gonna put a smaller head on there, and we're gonna unscrew these tiny ones. Okay, someone said the sound of PCBs makes me nervous. Spider, I agree with you on that one. Let's see, Psychic says it's in focus. Okay, that's cool. All right. Sean says, love your reviews. Good luck with the channel. I appreciate that, Sean. Thanks for stopping by. All right, so we're going to start with these. Oh my gosh, these are super small screws. I really don't want to strip these, because if I do, that means I'm going to have to take a drill to it. And I'll probably end up puncturing the PCB in the process, so let's not do that. Also, apologize if you hear anything in the background, which my wife lives here with me, as well as my brother currently. My parents are in the process of moving, so I'm helping them out while they're taking care of that. Let's get this screw off. I was missing a couple. Actually, one of these screws completely broke off. I don't even know I don't know which one it is. Might be the middle one, I think, that was broke off. Yeah, these screws are super small, so you don't want to lose these. They really suck. Let's see. Okay, another small one. You got to push really hard here. Again, these are easy to strip. The sidewalls of these screws are very tiny. Make sure you use a very fine Phillips head screw for this. If you've ever torn down a Founders cooler, you probably know the pain. I know that the new RTX cards, the new Founders cards, are even more difficult to take apart, especially the 2060. With all that glue and stuff they're using in there. Okay, that one's good. So the way this backplate works is kind of a two-piece backplate. So, see, you just kind of piece by piece here. So you want to install this side of the backplate closest to the rear plate first, because there's a small little lip here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a small lip, and you want that sitting underneath the back portion of the back plate. So this side goes in first. That's why I took this side off first. And we're just going to set this to the side for now. Again, if someone wants this, just send me an email or something. Leave a comment. I'll read all the comments after this live stream archives. And let's see. I'll get rid of that one. These small screws, again, these are just the small screws that are holding in the back plate. And we'll get to those remaining 3 larger Phillips screws afterward, because they're going to be the final 4 that hold in the cooler. They're actually the only, well, they're not technically the only things that secure the cooler to the card, but they are the ones that probably provide the most tension around the GPU. It's important that you keep that thing pressed as firmly as possible against the GPU die. You want to have proper contact, good for heat transfer. No air pockets or anything of the sort. I am not going to remember where I put these screws. We got one more small one. I get it? There we go. Okay. So, that's all the small screws. How are we doing over there, folks? Checking out the chat right now. You guys look like you're doing okay. I have one more screw. Totally forgot about this one way over here. If I do anything that freaks you out, someone says I need a Gamer's Nexus mod mat. I actually have one. Problem is it doesn't fit this table perfectly. This table's a little small. That mod mat is huge. I used it quite a bit at my old apartment, and that was because I had self-made desks, and it actually fit perfect. It's like a 24. It's a 2 foot by 4 foot mod mat, I believe, and it was good for that table. But this table is, I don't think it's wide enough. It's not a perfect 2 by 4 rectangle, so that's why I'm not using one. I actually, well, yeah, I just bought this table too, so actually I'm kind of concerned about that. Maybe we'll get a piece of cardboard or something and put that over here. Otherwise, it's whatever. It's like $100 for this table. I'll just use it till it falls apart. Okay, we have... see, this is what sucks about Founders cards. Most AIBs won't do this. But we've got the 4 large screws, right, surrounding the GPU itself. Then we've got these stupid freaking nuts that, well, they're not even nuts. They're technically screws, but they're hex heads. And they literally surround the entire card. So you have to screw these tiny little Phillips screws into the tops of these heads. So it's kind of like a screw in a screw. And of course, only NVIDIA would do that. I am going to need, let's see, we got one removed right here. This wasn't even tightened down. Wow. I don't think the camera is going to pick this up, but I just want to show you the top of it. See, it's a hexagonal shaped head, but it has a thread inside of it, and that's where the small screws that we just removed thread into. So, kind of stupid if you ask me. Actually, most of these are just hand tightened. Wow. That's pretty crazy. Someone said, that's nuts. Pretty good, Tom, pretty good. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna nonchalantly remove these hand-tightened nuts. I know I did this. I'm pretty sure I had to remove this cooler like 3 or 4 times during the swap because I kept forgetting to. Well, at one point, I forgot to even wire the blower fan to the PCBs. I was like, oh my god, I gotta take this whole thing apart again. So I think after like the 3rd or 4th time, I was just like, screw it. I'm just gonna hand tighten these things because really the most important part of this, you want to make sure that you're getting contact with those thermal pads around the VRM, the MOSFETs, the RAM. And also around the GPU, and that's, these 4 take care of that. So, yeah, definitely kind of Jimmy rigged it, but it's all right. It's all right. Okay. So iCast says you should do back massage ASMR. No homo. I I guess I'll take that as a compliment. That's probably the microphone, to be honest. You are in a peaceful place. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. There are so many of these stupid screws all over the board. We haven't even gotten this thing off yet. I'm just getting there. You see why I was wanting to make a dedicated video on this, because it is a process. Anything that takes me longer than about an hour to do, I'll film, just because, I don't know, I think people enjoy watching other people work. And when it's tech involved, I mean, come on, who doesn't like that? All right, we have like 2 more. Am I going to be able to... Oh, yeah, I think I'm going to be able to hand loosen these. All right. Chris says he's done that, forgot to plug the fan back when he removed a water block from a 1080 Ti. I think we've all been there at least once. Oh, am I going to be able to get this off? Come on. It's just like the one thing that you don't think about. You know, you're worried about all the missing screws and making sure all those holes are occupied and you know, thermal pads and making sure everything's aligning correctly. You're just not thinking about that stupid wire. And if there's more than one wire, then you probably won't even have RGBs running if it's an LED card. All right. I have one more. This piece right here. You guys, is that looking okay on camera? I can kind of see it. I'll move it right there in the center. We're going to keep going. This is an ugly, ugly green PCB. All right, so all these hex screws are removed. I don't know the official name for it's a hex screw, but they're screws nonetheless. And now we're just going to tackle these remaining 3 larger ones that surround the GPU. We'll clean up the die, and we'll swap this board back to the Aero cooler, which is, in my opinion, significantly uglier, actually louder as well. You know, I think these Founders cards get a bad rap. They used to be a lot worse, but now they've gotten, I would say, acceptably quiet. They're not going to be as quiet as some AIB cards and coolers, sure, but you know, for what it is, a Founders Edition card is really not that bad. Okay, so we've removed pretty much everything, securing the board to the cooler. Now we're just going to pull it up, see how this goes. And we got to remember, we have a cable connected between the two, so we can't just straight up rip this off. Am I forgetting? Yeah, if I break this whole board, at least it'll be live. Why is it not coming off? Sometimes you got to pull these, you got to pry them because the thermal paste kind of sticks, but we don't have anything on that side holding it in anymore. So why is it not coming off? Am I missing something? No, I don't think I am. Screw it, I'm just going to yank out. There we go. Oh, that board is flexing more than I would like. Oh, wait, am I forgetting one? Are you kidding me? All right, so there's this, I don't know if you can see that on camera, there's a Phillips screw, like right there in the middle. One of these is holding, yeah, I think that one is holding the cooler to the back plate, which is, it's whatever, you know, but like I'm not thinking about that being one of the things holding it in. That would make sense though. Give me a second, I know this is kind of off camera. I'm just gonna take care of this screw. You can see it's that one right there. Removing that now. And yep, Shellback got it. Shellback called it out. Good job, Shellback. And there's actually, is this the other one? Is this the other one holding it in? Oh, nope, it was just that one. And, oh no, it was this, there's two. It's this other one right here next to it. You guys see that one right there? That one is also holding the cooler. Yeah. Yep, here we go. You know, this stuff right here. In my experience, a lot of the AIBs don't even secure the cooler to the back plate, but it probably does provide some rigidity, so there's that. Okay, so we've got the PCB exposed. I'm going to detach the fan cable from the PCB. Somehow, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Let's see, I'll just flip it over and pull it apart that way. Should have got my tweezers. That would have been really helpful right now. Why is this not coming off? I'm gonna yank it. There we go. Okay. No parts were harmed during the making of this live stream. And yeah, so there's our cooler. You can see some nasty thermal. It doesn't even look like it. Doesn't even look like a thermal paste spread very well. But whatever. I mean, the temps were okay. And now, with that removed, we're gonna clean up the die, and then we'll get to fixing this back to the OG blower. So I've got toilet paper, courtesy of Walmart. And we're just gonna clean this bad boy up. No isopropyl alcohol here. I actually just ran out, so we're gonna do this the old-fashioned way. I'm breaking so many rules right now. And live at that, it's even worse. You get immediate public feedback. We could clean up the edge a little bit, but it's really not gonna hurt to leave a lot of that there. I'll just scrape it in and get as much as we can without this toilet paper fraying. Like to have as little toilet paper as possible on the GPU, you know what I'm saying? Also, Jesus, look at the state of these thermal pads. Like, well, they're okay. It's all right. Yeah, so, let's see, I'll flip it this way for you. We're going to recycle the thermal pads on this. I actually had a water block here. I have another 1070 that's on a block from Thermaltake. It's this one right here. And I was prepared to completely rip this apart. And actually, no, this is a 1080. Yeah, this is a 1080. I just don't have another cooler for the 1080, so it's kind of just chilling. Really, that's what I should do. I should take this out and put it on the Aero card. But whatever. We'll save that for another day. But I was going to take the thermal pads from that because I don't have any extra thermal pads laying around. Someone says, why doesn't he just clean it with soap and water? Because then I got to clean up the soap and water. That's just not good practice. I'm going to clean it up one more time, one more pass through. It'll be all right. Okay. Yeah, good enough. I don't expect this to be a perfect solution. Shane says, why should people complain about you using toilet paper? You are literally wiping crap off the bottom. And that's exactly right. Tom says, put the GPU in the dishwasher. Yeah, I'm not going to wait for a full cycle rinse. I just think that's a little overkill. I'll stick with toilet paper. Oh, yeah. Yeah, doing that live, too. I think that'd be even worse. Oh, gosh. Let's go ahead and... You know, there aren't even... Oh, no, there are. I have to take these thermal pads, which do not look like they're in good shape. I'm going to recycle these as well. Ooh, this is going to be cringy. But we got to do it. So, let's try to match up the coolers. We also have to change the backplate out. Remember that. So actually, well, this cooler still has this thermal pad there, so we can keep that there. But some of these other, like I think these are around the chokes and the MOSFETs. We're going to go ahead and pull these off. You can't even see that. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and pull these off and just kind of mirror it. Yeah. I could just put it on the board. Well, I'll just put it on the board. Well, you guys can see where I'm putting them. I want to say... Nope. Oh. There we go. Oh, we're missing that last one now. A little higher up. Oh. Really shouldn't be touching this stuff with my hands either. The oils aren't good. But whatever. Whatever. Yeah, Spider says replace all thermal pads. I don't have any thermal pads. I just said that, so I'm just winging it. I'm winging it live, folks. You're going to probably cringe just a little bit, but it's okay. I don't know where these pads went. But I'm going to cover as much as possible. We just want something there. Yeah, looks good. God, these look ugly. Ew. These are some ugly thermal pads. Let's see, what else do we have up there? I think that one just straight up ripped. Just just place it casually right there. Yeah, it looks like that's where it goes. And right there. Yeah, you could not fall. That'd be cool. Chill. All right, there we go. Okay. Yep, everything's looking all right-ish, I guess. And all right, to go ahead and prep it. Last thing I'm gonna do, gotta remove this back plate. So the one that fits on the aero card is not the same as the one that fits. It's not shaped the same. So we're gonna have to remove this and swap it with the one that's on the dead board. Just doing a full-on part swap here. By the way, if you guys have an idea of where I should send my GTX 1070 FE dead board, I don't know what about it is dead. I'm not too sure. It's possible that maybe something was stripped back when I was swapping this the 3 or 4 times that I did it. I mean, I know you're not going to see much here, but the front and back look fine. I've literally scanned almost every single little component on this board, front and back, and I can't find anything that looks dead unless it's internal. Maybe it's in the PCB. It's a 4 or 6 layer PCB. Actually, I'm not sure how many layers this is. Probably more than that. And then maybe something like it could be just a bad cap or whatever that we can't actually see from the top. But I'm going to keep removing this here. There we go. Taking that off. And what else are we missing? Do have to remove these 2 additional screws, hex heads that secure the DVI port. Cam says he's never seen a component that he didn't want to fix. All right, I like that mentality. So there's the back plate, whatever you really want to call this, rear I/O plate, and check out how naked our board looks now. Does that look stupid or what? Oh gosh. So yeah, let's go ahead and put this on the, well, we don't need to put this on the old board because the old board's already dead. So we'll just take the old board's rear I/O plate. This is the one that's compatible with the Aero card. Pretty much secured the same way. 3 Phillips screws and then 2 hex screws. Feels like a Linus Tech Tips video with a "do as I say, not as I do" thing. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I don't. This is not like the proper, obviously. Ideal conditions would be like if you had brand new thermal compound and you cleaned everything up with isopropyl alcohol, made it look very shiny, and then you didn't recycle thermal pads. I really don't care. I mean, this blower card is, like, the blower itself is probably going to be the thing that restricts this card more than anything else. Oh, am I going to be able to hand tighten these or hand loosen these? I don't think so. I got to get a tool. I'll be right back. I got one in the closet here. Let's see. Okay. Got a pair of surgical tweezers. Now, I know this is like totally unconventional, but I'm telling you, these things work wonders, right? They get you into those fine places. You can lock them in with the teeth up top. You got a death grip, folks. That's what you want sometimes. I know this is not this is not technically the way you're supposed to do this, but all I need is that first little bit to give. There we go. And then I can hand loosen the rest of it. There we go. So then when both these come off, that back plate will just fall. I should probably move the PCB underneath it. I think that'd be a smart choice. Wow, that's a lot bigger. I'll just hold it over here. Last one. Yeah, John, I just said that I already have a mod mat. It doesn't fit on the desk. I said that like 10 minutes ago. Okay, so there's the second rear I/O backplate. Good to go. Yeah, this is the board that's dead. Again, can't find too much physically. I mean, physically it looks okay. So there's something either internal in the PCB, one of the layers, or just something in one of the chips, one of the caps, or something along those lines that's dead. So maybe another video, or maybe I'll just send that off to somebody to have it fixed. So this is the Arrow's back plate. We're gonna align it up so you guys can see it. It's gonna fit. Nope, wrong way. Sorry. It's gonna fit basically just like that. Yeah. And we'll go ahead and use the screws from the kit we just released. Start with a DVI port. Seems like the most secure. Wow, this is difficult to do. Probably have to stand it straight up. Let's try it like that. Probably be out of shot. Let me see if I can move it further into the camera. Now it's way far away from me. Rip that one. See? Da, 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 da. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if Brian has the soldering equipment necessary to fix some small component on these boards. Believe me, if I had the equipment, I'd try to do it myself. I just don't have the equipment, and frankly, if I bought the equipment to do it, fine soldering kits, I just wouldn't. I wouldn't use it, but maybe a couple times. So, gonna get that back on there. Okay, off to a good start. And rest of these, just 3 of these, holding in the other ports. Actually, these are over the display ports. So there's 1. And then we'll do 2 and 3. Mike, I just said literally 2 minutes ago, I don't have, I have a Gamers Nexus mod mat. It doesn't fit the table. And because of that, I put it up. It's actually in the garage right now. It fit my old table, but I didn't bring that with me to the new apartment when we moved. So there you go. It's okay. Wood is not conductive. It's just going to be a little louder. Not worried about this table getting scratched up. It's a cheap table I bought on Amazon. Okay, so that's it. That's that rear I/O plate, nice and sturdy now. And yeah, so let's go ahead and apply the thermal compound. I'm going to clean up that GPU die just a little bit more. AKA, I'm just going to scrub it with toilet paper. Yeah, I'm looking good. Okay, good enough. And Lone Wolf's Stuck says, here's $2. Find a use for it, I suppose. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Lone Wolf. Assuming you're a dude. Lone Wolf Stuck. I am hopefully not going to be stuck with this installation process. I think I have all the screws for this cooler. We're going to find out very shortly. So this is the cooler again. Wow, what is it? It's like a smear from thermal compound? I don't know what that is. Yeah, this cooler is just nasty. Just old and ugh. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. So I'm going to use Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut stuff. It's right here. We're going to be working with working actually very closely with Thermal Grizzly here soon. So stay tuned for that. We're going to test out a very new product of theirs in a dedicated video. I'm going to apply. Let's see. Look like enough to you guys? Remember, we have to cover the entire die with this stuff. So I imagine it's going to spread fairly well. I could manually spread it. I'm not sure if I'd want to even bother. Oh, Lone Wolf says his last name is Stuck. Your last name is literally Stuck. I mean, hey, just roll with it, man. You just gotta own it. That's at that point, unless you just want to full out change your last name, you just gotta roll with it. We're just gonna stick with that. I've done this so many times, and that's gonna be enough. Now I'm gonna flatten the board. It would help in this case to put the cooler on something so that the rear I/O plate can kind of hang there. Oh, I did not. Yeah, rip. I didn't connect the power cable for the fan. I almost forgot. Woohoo. Whew. All right. Yeah, looking all right, looking all right. Not really supposed to lift the PCB back up when you've already put thermal compound down, but it didn't really spread very much. If we had already tightened it, maybe I'd want to redo that. Again, this is just for my own testing here. I'll run the temp test and all that stuff after this. We'll see. We'll see how it fares up. There is no backplate with this card, so it is literally just... Actually, these aren't even the correct screws. I'm using these screws from the FE cooler. It's whatever. There we go. Get screw number 2. Okay, at this point I go ahead and put it... Well, I still can't because that rear rail plate hangs a little too low. And do that. Number 2. And we have 3. Psychic, I just addressed that literally like right before you typed that in the chat. Oh, maybe you just maybe you just saw it. I'm not sure how late the live stream is. And 4th one. I always start with this first, and really you want to cross thread these. You can tighten them a little more on an X pattern, so you make sure that thermal paste spreads somewhat evenly. But in my experience doing this, I mean, there's so much torque in these 4 screws that it spreads fairly well no matter what. Okay, go ahead and put the card down. And now we have a ton of these small screws to take care of again. But good thing is, we don't have to worry about the stupid hex screws like we had to before. Hopefully I have all the screws here as well. I'm actually not sure if I have all of those. So let's see. Let's see how it goes. I got 1. Is that centered? Yeah, it looks centered enough. 1. Okay. I have a sneaking suspicion that I'm not gonna have all the screws. Actually, a couple of them fell in the closet when I was picking the cooler up. I didn't realize I put all the screws in the cooler. There's probably 1 or 2 hanging out in there. We'll just we'll go find those after the fact. Put that on. Bambi just said cross. Yeah, I know. Oh gosh, everyone's a stickler for everything that I say. Yeah, cross-threading. Obviously not. Yeah. Not what I meant. Here we go. You guys know what I mean. I got this one on this corner. There should be a fairly large Phillips screw up here as well. I don't know if it's one of these. We'll see. I know this green is, yeah, this is an ugly old green PCB. That was one of the reasons why I made a dedicated video on it. I was like, come on, like, if you're willing to cheap out just the tiniest bit for the green substrate over, it's not even really the PCB that's green, it's actually a coating that is green over these. Any color you see over the actual silicon of PCB is just, well, semiconductor. Are we gonna have all the screws? I don't know. We might actually have all the screws. That'll be something, folks. Let's see. Someone says, yeah, that thing is fugly. She's fugly, all right. She's that awkward middle child. Keeping it down. I don't think we're gonna have the 4 screws that lock this in. That for sure I don't think we have. But I don't actually think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think there were screws in the back of this cooler when I first pulled it out of the Dell desktop. I'm pretty sure, and I say that not only because I feel like I didn't lose those. It'd be kind of weird to lose just those, but I'm also saying that because these 4 screws here are kind of doing the same job these 4 would. This is just for more tension on that area. I don't think we need to worry about that. And then 1 more. Actually, we have 2 more. Am I missing another hole somewhere? Nope. I just see. Maybe I did lose these. That means I lost 3 of them. Where the heck did 3 of those go? Oh, there is 1 more over here. So I was. Oh, I did have all of them. Interesting. Is this even gonna thread over here? Oh, that actually works. Okay. All right. Just gonna poke and hope with this. And we're going to be too short. I don't think I have... Yeah, I really don't think I have the other two. I don't think I have the other two in even like another box. Yeah, exactly like Chris says, you really don't need them because you already have the 4 big ones doing most of the work. I'll just keep them in there, just the 2 that we have, and the other 2 can just, I don't know. If you just, here's all you have to do with this card. It still doesn't look pretty from this side, right? I mean, it's yeah, like fake little carbon fiber stickers and plastic, like, okay. But it's still not a super appealing card in my opinion, but it looks significantly better if you place it in a vertical bracket where only this side is facing the left panel, versus if you have it plugged in like this, you know, plugged straight into the motherboard, you're going to see that PCB. And that's when people, you know, look, this could be a 1080 or a 1070. Either cooler works. The FE boards are basically the same. So you could just pop a 1080 in here and turn it vertical with a vertical bracket from Cable Mod, Cooler Master, whoever, and then just let this thing look semi-pretty, you know? It's going to look a lot better than that bare green PCB showing on the back. So I definitely recommend a vertical bracket for this card, but, you know, apart from that, and maybe the fact that it's going to run a little loud, a little hot, this isn't too bad. I think this, if I recall correctly, it's been like a year since I tested this card in a video. I think this card hit about 80C under load. Maybe a little higher. But the way NVIDIA's throttling works, like it kind of throttles itself throughout the entire frequency range. And at temperatures above 70 degrees Celsius, I'm not sure exactly what it is. But as these cards get hotter, NVIDIA kind of, you know, compensates by adjusting the memory frequency or the GPU frequency directly. And so they will typically run around 80 degrees, these blower style cards. Still not bad. Still not that bad. So, yeah, I would say this thing's good to go. I'm not sure. Is that like paint or is that... Oh, it was a piece of paper or something. Also, what the heck is this? Is that a piece of thermal pad? Whatever. Rip that. We'll be sure to run temperature tests with this thing just to make sure. I got to do my due diligence, especially if I plan on using this in a future build. But I'd say it's pretty good. I mean... this side anyway. Again, vertical bracket will do the job. So that's about it, folks. Just want to show you guys what I do. This is just stuff that I'm going to be using in house, so I'm not really worried about it, you know, standing the test of time, which is why I didn't bother buying new thermal pads or anything like that. Thermal pads would be nice, and that would certainly keep temps down around the VRMs and the memory. But you know, we have new thermal compound on the GPU, and I think that's going to keep GPU temps in check, at least. Somewhat. The blower stock card is going to be our weak link for sure. But yeah, so what do you guys think? I know you've been staring at a desk this entire time, but this was kind of fun, you know? And look, I could have made a dedicated video out of this. Instead, I decided to live stream it. So you get to see all you get to see the whole thought process, right? Play out. I've been kind of talking this whole time so you don't get bored of just watching me screw stuff in. Yeah, so I think this will stand the test of time, like I said, at least for the time that I'm going to be using it, and maybe not 4 or 5 years from now, but you could always swap thermal compound, put new pads on, this thing should be good to go again. And the PCB is really the only thing that's keeping me from just outright wanting to throw this in a $1,000, you know, PC or something like that. I'm going to see if I can find these online, because these aren't technically... You can't really buy these. I mean, you could buy cards similar to this, but I know MSI uses a darker PCB similar to the FE card like this, and they also have the MSI logo, and they're not using as cheap a plastic. Like this is like really cheap plastic here, and the MSI card didn't give me that vibe. So who knows? Well, we'll have to see. My phone just turned off, but I'm going to take the time now to answer some questions if you guys have any. I know you're just staring at a desk. I guess I could kind of turn it toward me, the camera, if you are really into seeing me. But let's see. I'm going to go ahead and try my best here to point the camera up so you guys can see how messy it is. 1 second. Okay. I need to activate Windows. looking good, I think. How are we looking there? I gotta scoot a little closer. This is such a weird angle. I'm gonna be looking up the entire time. I don't know if you heard what I said. My computer, I gotta activate Windows on it. I put 2 drives in RAID 0, and they've been doing all right. I mean, since I did it, which was like 4 months ago, I want to say, it's been doing fairly well. So, I mean, it's really fast. Every now and then I get some weird corruption error, especially with Steam games. But I'm not sure if that's just Steam related or if it does have something to do with the drives themselves, the RAID, or Windows 10, just not, I don't know, communicating properly with the RAID. We will see. Excuse me. Okay, so here to answer your questions, folks. Whatever you got, I have literally the chat pulled up right here on my phone, and I'm just staring at it. So if you guys have questions, if I know the answer, I'll try to answer as best and coherently as I can in a short amount of time. And if I don't know the answer, then maybe I'll make a video on it or something like that. I'll have to do some research and get back to you guys. And honestly, any idea at this point is good for a video. Let's see here. Lone Wolf wants to know if I've played War Thunder before. The answer is no. I've never even heard of that game before, I don't think. There's a lot of games that sound alike, so maybe I've heard of it, or maybe even I've played it. I've played a lot of games just to benchmark and test with, but I don't recall that one. Let's see. Tom Brown, would a GTX 1070 Ti be a good upgrade from an RX 570? Sure would. It depends on what you get it for. I wouldn't pay any more for a 1070 Ti. I definitely wouldn't pay more than, if you're buying used, about $280 to $300. I don't know. I don't know how the used market's changed recently. It used to be you could get 1070s for well, not 100 something, about $200. $200 to $240 was the sweet spot for the 1070s, and the 1080s were going for about $300 to $350. I know that because I bought several of those cards when they were that price, but it might have changed. The 1070 Ti will be a very nice upgrade from a 570. West says, no, turn the camera back. All right, here's the solution. All you gotta do, just look away from the screen. You can just hear my beautiful voice. There's the fix. Okay, we have Adrian Lopez. Is it possible to replace the sensor of my old mouse? My final mouse Ergo is dying, and I can't find a replacement at a reasonable price. Oof, yeah, I don't know if they sell those things separately. It really depends if it was like apart. Like, I don't know if they sell sensors. I've never looked for a sensor to replace it in a mouse, and it would have to be the exact same sensor, I assume, and I'm not sure if those things are just like plug and play with the boards. So it's really going to depend on how much work you want to do and how much time you want to spend looking for that, because if they sell them outright, then yeah, quick swap, but I'm just not sure if they do. Let's see. Hack Damon, do they make water blocks for the 2070 Asus Dual? I don't know about that block in particular. I mean, you're just going to have to type it in on Google. That's really the best answer I have for you. I don't know about that particular card. Usually the more beefy cards get the water block action. So if it's not a very beefy 2070, probably not. Maybe not the Dual. I know the Strix does. 2070 Strix I'm pretty sure does, but I'm not sure about the Asus Dual. Let's see here. What do we have here? Another one from Tom. Water cooling or air cooling? Depends on the application. Air cooling is just easier. But water cooling, I mean, AIOs for the most part, they're going to last you, I would say, several years safely. If you have anything go wrong with an AIO, it's going to be a dead pump. And you'll know it's a dead pump because your temperatures will spike and you'll have no idea why. And your AIO fans will still turn. You'll be like, why the heck is that doing that? With a CPU fan, I mean, with a CPU air cooler, it's just, if the fan's turning, the CPU cooler is working, right? So there are less failure points. And in some situations, air coolers can be even quieter than liquid-cooled counterparts. It just depends. In general, I think AIOs look better. So if it's an aesthetic thing too, and you're not really as concerned about budget, then I would say water cooling is the way to go. But there are a lot of really good air coolers out there for under $50, so it just depends. Igor Bazoki, is that how you say your last name? Ray tracing on Pascal. What performance to expect? And the answer to that is, I have no earthly idea. I just know that when you think about how intensive that is to begin with, just enabling something like DXR or even DLSS, DLSS to an extent helps, but it can sometimes drop the in-game quality, right? Because it's an AI, it's an AI that's learning over time. So theoretically, the picture in game should look better a year from now than it does right now, right? That's the benefit of DLSS. So it's kind of something you have to buy into long term. But with DXR, turning on ray tracing in games, it's just, I mean, there's a reason why NVIDIA packed RT and Tensor cores into Turing cards, and the fact that Pascal cards don't have that, I am very skeptical as to whether or not the performance will even be somewhat satisfactory, seeing as though the 2080 Ti still takes an absolute pounding when DXR is enabled in most of the games that support it, which to date is only like a handful of games, and I think that even is an overstatement. Let's see here. 11, 1, 2, 3. What's the max temp my Strix 1080 Ti should get? A Strix 1080 Ti. Oh, I haven't tested a Strix 1080 Ti. I can tell you my 1080 Ti's don't get but to around low to mid 70s. Shouldn't get much higher than that. You can overclock a bit, but you'll probably hit your power limit pretty fast. Well, I know you're hitting power limits on Turing cards, but I'm not sure if you'd hit it on a Strix 1080. But usually what you can do is just max everything out in MSI Afterburner and just kind of let the card handle itself. Just increase the power limit, voltage limit if you really want to get fancy, and all that good stuff. You can even fine tune the frequency to maybe. It's been a while since I've even overclocked graphics cards. Let's just say your out of the box max boost is like 2000 megahertz. You might be able to get 2100, maybe 2200 if you got a really good sample. But of course that scales from card to card, so it might differ for a different version of the card, different PCB. Could just be a totally different family of graphics cards. They'll all have different stable frequencies, and you kind of got to fill it out. Let's see here. Hey, it's pretty good. Green PCB, yum. Yeah, we just finished doing that. Oh god, I probably just broke it with my ring. I gotta be careful with that. It's one of the reasons why I like backplates. It's not so much the aesthetics anymore. It used to be just purely aesthetic, but there is actually a functional purpose for these. So, yeah. Let's see. Hayden says, just got here. Did he just finish? And the answer to that is, yes, sir, just finished. The camera was pointing at the desk for about 45 minutes or so. Tech Crimson says, the camera angle is definitely interesting. Yeah, that's because I just turned the camera facing up. So if you just joined the live stream, then yeah, you're probably like, what the heck is he doing with the camera way up there? But it's better than you guys having to wait for me to move the tripod awkwardly and fix the leg heights and all that good stuff. Scrolling down a little bit more here. Ooh, West Zero. When do you think NDA storage will be? Wait, when do you think DNA storage will be in? Excuse me. And could it be in common Bing end builds? I don't know what you're talking about, West. I've never heard of that before. Tech Crimson says, guess this means you need to make an updated video on how to overclock a graphics card. I mean, it's the exact same process. That's why I haven't done an updated version of it, because it's literally this. I recommend using MSI Afterburner. It's extremely simple to do. And you kind of just got to play with the tolerances. Again, it's just like with a CPU. Every card's going to overclock just slightly different. Let's see here. Tom Brown, what do you think of Epic Games? I don't get much into the games thing. I play PUBG a lot. I play City Skylines a lot. Call of Duty, GTA 5, it's really about it. It takes a lot for me to swap from game to game because it's a commitment, When you commit to one game, for me, that's a serious thing. And you just got to stick with it for a long time, kind of perfect it as much as you can. And then once you get bored of that, then you can move on to something else. I'm still not bored yet of PUBG, even though that game is just a hecka unoptimized still. It's a lot better than it was, but it's still got problems. I'll play Call of Duty just to wreck some kids, in a short little 30-minute session. What do we have here? Tech says, guys, he only plays PUBG. It's true. I really only do. It's really true. Yeah. Okay, Alex Wright, 3000 series Ryzen plus R9 290X custom water AIO or new GPU. Yeah, dude, if you're gonna upgrade to Ryzen 3000, I would definitely drop that R9 290X. Was it Hawaii architecture or Tahiti? Is it Hawaii or Tahiti? I think it's Hawaii. No, maybe it's Tahiti. I don't remember. One of the two. I know it's one of the two. Anyway, yeah, that's some old architecture. An RTX 290Xs run hot. So if you're okay with card running really hot in your system, that's fine. But it really could go a long way if you upgraded to, heck, I mean, even like Vega 56. Like, you can get a Vega 56 card now for like $300, and you get like 3 games with it. That's a really good value. So if you're not buying into the whole RTX thing, or you're not an NVIDIA fan or whatever, then I think Vega 56 is a very compelling offer right now. You can even find some used cards for, I would say, less than that. So if you're diligent, you'll find good deals. Yep, 290X is Hawaii. All right, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Strength, power, performance. Okay, what happened to the mini PC? So I ended up tearing it all apart. Like I said, only reason why is because I just I don't know. I think I'm gonna end up swapping the cooler anyway. The CPU cooler. Noctua is gonna send one of their super low profile coolers, so it'll be even quieter for Lisa's mom. And then I'm waiting on Antec to reply about that power supply board. So it was definitely the board. The power was reaching the board. We confirmed that in the video. It just wasn't getting through the board to the outlet, to the port that split it between the 24-pin, 8-pin, and then the SATA and Molex. So an unfortunate ending there, but at least we got to troubleshoot a little bit. Let's see here. I am going to... Hay says Vega 56 is still $400. In the US, it was not very recently, and it will come down again, I promise you. Vega 56, we just ran an ad for Vega 56 for the Red Dragon from Power Color. You could get that thing for like $330, and you got 3 good games. Like, they were good games. I think it was Division 2, Devil May Cry 5, and Resident Evil 2. Good games. All 3 of those, it's like $150 value, plus the graphics card for $329. So definitely not just $400. It comes down quite a bit. Let's see here. Lone Wolf says, how's school going? I graduated with my engineering degree like 2 years ago, and then I graduated with my MBA. Was it 6 months ago? Something like that. I'm trying to read my diploma and see if it, well, not my diploma, my degree, and see if it has it on there. And there is no date. Oh, no, it is. Okay. 14th day of December 2018. Yeah, so that was 3 or 4 months ago. So yeah, school is good. Topher Tech, good question. Greg, what's in your rig? The answer to that is, well, my personal rig has an RTX 2070 in it, an i9 9900K, 32 gigs of Trident Z DDR4. So that's what I'm rocking. And I'm looking at what else I have in the system. I have a Corsair H150i Pro. It's an NZXT H700i and an EVGA P2 1000 watt. There we go. Okay, it took me a while. I was trying to remember all the stuff in the rig. I have this rig over here too, and this is actually the one I'm streaming from. So right now I'm streaming with an i5 8600K, 16 gigs of Corsair DOM Plats, and an RTX 2060 FE. And the RTX 2060 right now is actually doing all of the encoding for this video. So OBS recently added the improved NVIDIA encoder tools, and then also Streamlabs OBS just added. I use Streamlabs mostly because I can do like the ticker and stuff. I don't have it for this video because it's a different computer. I have to set it all up again. But the 2060 is doing very well right now with that, and I'd have to check GPU usage to see exactly what's what. But I know my CPU right now, I see that CPU usage is 4%, and I'm streaming at a bitrate of 10,000 megabits per second. So she's doing all right now. But I'll probably do a separate video on that too, talking about actually a 2070, a 2080 would be a lot better for this. But the 2060 is doing just fine. So I'll probably do a video on that, talking about the different scaling, just the usage overall, comparing the X264 software encoding to the hardware encoding on with the NVIDIA card. And we'll just see. Let's see here. A couple more questions, folks. Anything else? Anything juicy you want to ask me before I leave? It's 10 o'clock over here, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Looking in the chat. Hey says Power Color Vega 56 on Newegg and Amazon are nowhere near 330. Yeah, that's because they were for 330 like a month ago. So you can tell me they're not now, but that's fine. I'm not arguing that they are now. They were just on sale very recently. I know this because I literally ran ads for them, and it was a really good deal for 330. You're basically getting the graphics card for like $250, which is really good. And like I said, it will come down again. So if you want a card right now, don't buy Vega 56, obviously. But if you want to wait a little bit, I'm sure Vega 56 will come down significantly in price again, like it did before. And I'm sure someone will hit me up to run a pre-roll or two on it as well, just to draw traffic. Tom Brown, are you going to the Roast of Linus? I don't know. Is that at LTX? If it's at LTX, I'll be there. So that'll be fun. I don't know where else it would be. Let's see here. Someone says, do you really need to change thermal paste? Or sorry, thermal pads if you open your GP for paste replacement? Not really. I mean, you really don't need to. It's just good practice too. Once they get dirty and your oils from your hands get on them and stuff, it can inhibit heat transfer. But ultimately, the thermal paste is what's really going to make or break. And you just want to make sure that there are thermal pads in place. Obviously, for this solution, like these thermal pads are really ugly. So I would have swapped those in an ideal situation. I just don't have any on hand, and this is a card I'm going to be using for my own purposes. So I'm not worried about it. We have a new member, by the way. We have Roger Wallstrom. I don't know if I said that correctly. I hope I did. Welcome to the member community, Roger. I hope you feel at home here. Also, if you want to leave a comment in the chat box, we can. Oh, there it is. I see it right there. Hi there from Sweden. He's got that beautiful gold star next to his name. If you become a member, you get a sweet little gold star next to your name, and that star increases. So it goes from 1 star to 2 stars, 3, 4, up to 5 stars, depending on how long you were a member on the channel. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Roger, and greetings from the US of A. Street wants to know how old I am. I am 24. I almost said 34. Jesus, I'm not that old. I am 24, and I will turn 25 in October, end of October. Alrighty, let's see here. Leandra says, have you seen NVIDIA's April Fool's video? I have not. That sounds really good. I'm definitely going to have to check that out. If it's from NVIDIA, it's going to be juicy. What's the best $50 graphics card? I'd have to do my research. I can't answer that, and it really depends on the market as well. If you could only afford one quality peripheral for gaming. So I'm assuming you're saying if I could only get one really good peripheral and the rest of the peripherals have to kind of suck, which would it be? A mouse and an okay keyboard, or a better keyboard and an okay mouse? Okay, so I have used membrane keyboards a lot in the past. Pretty much growing up, like even my own personal PCs used membrane keyboards because I had to buy everything out of pocket, and I was really on tight budgets back then. So I only use membrane keyboards. Granted, I use cheap mice too, but I think the mouse matters a little more for the games that I play, and I just prefer more comfortable, smooth mice with better sensors in them and more accurate and more responsive. So I would say in general I'd pick a better mouse and go with just a trashy keyboard if I had, just for my personal application. I think it would fit. Let's see here. G-Rod says, I am so late to the stream. Oh, yes, sir. Good thing it's going to be archived. If you want to go back and watch any of it, I mean, we just basically swapped power, or not power, I almost said power supplies. We just swapped the PCB from the Founders Edition card. This was actually where the PCB was originally. It was originally on this blower card, but my FE board died, but I wanted to use the FE cooler, so I took this green PCB from this 1070 and put it on the FE card, or the FE cooler. So we were swapping that back in this video just because the FE cooler was painted and it's a little messy, and yeah. So we'll figure it out. Alrighty, folks. You guys have been awesome. We're going to sign out here. If you are interested in checking out some of our most recent content, I encourage you to do that. I mean, look, it's not going to cost you anything unless you have YouTube Premium. I guess that would cost you, well, you might as well get your money's worth if you have YouTube Premium. Watch as many videos as you can. But I'd appreciate it if you'd check out a video or two on the channel. We're going to come up with some really cool content here soon. I have a very special CPU from Intel that I will be doing a dedicated video on. Also, 2 graphics cards that were sent from Gigabyte we'll be doing reviews on. And then also a balanced PC build. I think it's important that we stress the balanced aspect of this build coming up because it's very easy for me just to throw a bunch of expensive gear into a rig and say, oh, check out this ultimate gaming PC, $2,000, $3,000, whatever. We're going to do a balanced $1,000 budget build. And I think that budget is a sweet spot for a lot of people because it's a compromise between spending outrageous sums of cash for marginally better performance in most cases and spending $200 or $300 for really crappy performance, right? So $1,000 I think is a really good sweet spot. You can get a lot of performance for $1,000 out of a gaming system, and we're going to talk about those pros in the video coming up. So who knows? We might even use one of the graphics cards we were sent, either the 1660 or the Ti in that build as well. I haven't fully decided yet. I'm gonna play around a PC part picker and see what we can do. So we will. Yeah, we'll be ready to go. And those videos, stay tuned for that. Again, check out some more older content. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to have to pivot over here to end the live stream, so it's going to be a little awkward. But again, thank you for taking time out of your Sunday night and or Monday morning/afternoon to be here. This is Science Studio. Thanks for watching. Thanks for swapping PCBs with us. I'll catch you in the next one. And here's the awkward slide.